If you have a special needs child, it's really important that your estate plan protects that special needs child. A special needs child typically will receive certain government benefits. And when they become an adult, those benefits are going to be tested by what their asset level is. So some benefits they simply get, and others they will get only if their assets are a lower level. Having said that, what that means is, as a parent of a special needs child, as long as you're alive, you are likely involved in their life and helping them. But when you're gone, what's going to happen? In the past, oftentimes people who didn't understand better said, well, you know what? I've got 3 kids, one of whom is a special needs child. I'm just going to make sure my assets go to the 2 other kids and they'll take care of the special needs child. And I'm not going to give any money to the special needs child because if I do that, they're going to lose their government benefits. Well, that's what I call a workaround and not a very good one. What is a better plan is to have a trust for your child. In your will, for example, what you do is you say, on my death, my assets go, let's say you want it to go 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 1/3 goes to the special needs child, not outright, they can't manage it, but into a protective trust. When the assets are in the trust, the government simply does not count those assets as belonging to your special needs child beneficiary. There's instead a trustee who manages this discretionary trust. It has to be discretionary, meaning that the beneficiary can't demand assets out of it. And with that type of trust, your special needs child continues to receive all the government benefits that they're entitled to, plus they have money set aside to make their life even better. And who will be your trustee of that trust? It could be one of their siblings, it could be someone else, it could be a professional trustee. Oftentimes it is a family member who is the trustee of the trust for your child. Through your will, through your estate planning, and it doesn't have to be through a will, you could do it through a revocable living trust. You can create a special needs trust for your special needs child. But in Washington, we commonly use wills for a number of reasons. Probate is very easy here. And so typically in Washington state, we're going to create this type of trust for your child through your will. One of the things I did want to mention, because I often hear this question from parents, is, well, should I set up a special needs trust now for my child while I'm alive rather than through my will? You certainly can do that. The answer, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, depends on your situation. For example, it might be a good idea to create, you as a parent, it's called a third party, inter vivos, special needs trust for your special needs child. You do it while you're alive and you simply fund it with whatever money you want to put in it. One of the reasons commonly that people will want to do that rather than waiting until their death through their will creating this type of a trust is that there may be other family members who want to contribute money to the special needs child. For example, their grandparent, and maybe their grandparent hasn't set up their will to create a special needs trust for the child. So in the grandparent's will, what they can say is that they direct any assets to this grandchild to this trust that's already been created by the parent for the grandchild. Everybody's situation is different, whether or not it's appropriate to set up a special needs trust through your will on your death or through a revocable living trust that'll fund on your death, or create one now while you're alive, really depends on your situation. To get you the answer that's right for you, you've heard me say this before, see an estate planning and elder law attorney.